megalopolis of 29 million inhabitants in the middle of China. May is 23 and is an art student with no income. Yet she lives in a large 3-floor apartment in a chic neighborhood. May is a concubine, the mistress of a rich property developer. This is a dressing room. Up there's another room with an office. Can we see it? It's not really tidy. May is embarrassed to show us the more intimate areas, such as the bedroom. The apartment is worth over $500,000 and is a present from her protector, one of those known here as the big money men. During the week I study at university, and we meet up here on the weekend, if we have time. May keeps her mobile phone close. She always needs to make herself available to her lover. It's the price for living in such comfort. I don't get involved in his life. He goes home. He's the one who calls. He knows when he can call. It's easier for him. And if you were to break up, what would happen to the apartment? The apartment? Oh, it should be mine. You're not sure? Well, he said he bought it for me. The young woman isn't too sure about whether she actually owns the apartment. But the question hasn't come up so far. Her protector lavishes expensive gifts on her. Having such a beautiful and sparkling lady at his side enhances his social standing. The clothes, the watch, everything I'm wearing, he bought them all, including the earrings. He brought them back from a business trip. It will have to be a very, very rich man that I get married to. For now, I'm spending nothing of my own. He buys me everything I want. If I ever have a serious relationship with someone who has no money, I don't know what I'd do. I have to think about that. I've become accustomed to this lifestyle. Oh, my phone's ringing. May jumps every time the phone rings. It's probably her protector. It would be unthinkable to be unreachable. Hello? You're back? Where are you? You want to come over? When? All right. In half an hour? He's coming back. Is that him? Yes, he's on his way. He's coming here? Yes. It's panic stations. May gives the place the once-over to make sure nothing shows a camera crew has ever been here. She particularly doesn't want her lover to find her in the apartment with strangers. If he sees you here, he'll start asking a lot of questions, and that won't be good. If I have time, I'll call you tomorrow, okay? See you then.
Bye.
The concubines are an integral part of Chinese tradition, a symbol of power during the days of the emperors, then banned by the communists in 1949 as bourgeois decadence. They resurfaced with the return of capitalism under Deng Xiaoping. Officially, the law still forbids concubines. But today, every rich and powerful man keeps one or more women. You need to be very wealthy, and the return of the so-called little brides has fed the rampant corruption in the upper echelons of state bureaucracy. Scandals abound. Politicians are regularly caught, such as Liu Zihua, the former deputy mayor of Beijing in charge of construction projects for the 2008 Beijing Olympics, pocketed close to $1 million in bribes. The Chinese media estimates more than 90% of senior officials who were found guilty of corruption in the past 5 years all had mistresses. The subject of concubines is understandably a touchy one in China. The next day, May gets in touch and agrees to meet in a park. Meeting a concubine isn't easy. Everyone knows they exist, but the women remain discreet. It's rule number 1 if you frequent the rich and the powerful. Thanks to her rich friend, May has a luxurious lifestyle. She even has a private limousine and driver. The young woman came here 4 years ago from a small village to study art at university.
刚来都是家里面给钱，也不算。
When I arrived, my family used to give me money.
反正还可以。
Life wasn't too bad, but not exactly luxurious either.
我去做那个去实习。
In the second year, I interned at his real estate firm.
实习做兼职嘛。
And that's where I met him.
就在那里面，就是无意
It was quite by chance. He helped me so much in my life.
他给我很多帮助呀。学校里面真的很多，像这种。
At school, there are many girls like me.
因为肯定是。
It depends just whether they're from wealthy or poor families. Everyone likes money. When she's not attending classes, May visits the shops, usually the designer brands. A concubine has to be expensively dressed to show her protector in a good light when they go out together. This is my style. He buys me lots of hats. I like trying them on, but I never wear them even once at home. In this shop, nothing costs less than $400. Not a problem for May. I spend about $800, $900 a month on 2 or 3 things, which I usually never end up wearing. He knows when I've run out of money because then I don't go out. So he gives me more to spend. It's not always the same amount. May tries on many different things, but chooses nothing, despite the saleswoman's best efforts. A lot of celebrities like this type of sunglasses, like Lady Gaga. Once they reach 25, no concubine will ever find a protector. Too old. So finding a husband remains the only option for some. May is beginning to think about it. Somewhat oddly, she can never imagine herself being cheated on once she is married. What if your future husband has a mistress? Oh, I'm not worried about that. I think I'll be able to deal with her or make sure he doesn't have one. If a woman understands life and is educated and cultured, her husband won't go looking anywhere else, will he? That's why I'm studying. Maze has the naivety of her 20 years, but for now her carefree existence continues. Where are you? Where are you waiting for me? It's a Monday, and yet her lover manages to find time between 2 appointments. He wants to see her now, before her classes. He wants to have a bite to eat with me and then drop me off at the uni. You have to go then. Oh, yes. In China, the concubines may live discreetly, but they aren't hermits. Next stop, Shenzhen, the special economic zone in the south of the country, also known as the workshop of the world. It's the heart of Chinese capitalism. Its wealth attracts young girls willing to do anything to escape a future in the factories. All their dreams can come true here, but at the cost of becoming concubines. Their protectors, Hong Kong industrialists, have taken to putting them up in the same apartment blocks, to the extent they are now dubbed the concubine villages, as the taxi driver explains. This is Huanggang, which is where all the concubines live, who entertain the Hong Kong bosses. They're everywhere around here, there's so many of them. There are many pretty young girls ready for anything. There's no mistaking what's going on. The line of parked cars speaks volumes. See the cars with the 2 number plates? One yellow, one black. Those are from Hong Kong. In the middle of the day, numerous Hong Kong registered vehicles are in a residential area. Their owners don't seem to be at work. Yini is also a concubine. She's 24 and, unlike May, she works as a receptionist. Her salary of over $1,300 a month earns her a decent living, but not in the style she likes. But Yini has a problem. She's just lost her first protector. At the moment, I'm on my own, but I'd like to find another. I'd like him to be financially stable so he can keep me. Otherwise, I wouldn't stay with him. The young woman visits the beauty parlor several times a week. They do a great manicure here. Very, very good. To remain attractive to their lovers or to find a new one, the concubines have to take good care of themselves. Properly coiffed, made up and manicured anytime their lovers call on them. The neighborhood is packed with beauty parlors as a result. Flowers aren't the thing at the moment. Yes, it's sculptures. They're nicer. All the girls in Shenzhen have to take care of themselves. Manicure is an art. The hands are the second face for women. Every month I spend between $1,300 and $1,600 at the hairdresser and manicurist. All her salary goes towards beauty care. Even the most basic manicure costs up to $60. But she has no choice if she wants to snag a rich man. Finished? Yes. Can we see? There you go. I feel better about myself now. How will you find a new man then? Oh, it will just happen, and I'm sure there will be plenty of opportunities. You can meet plenty of rich men at fashion shows and modeling exhibitions. Yini would like to be married by the age of 25, before being considered one of the leftovers. Just like May, the other concubine, she is very particular. The ideal husband has to have money, and everything else is acceptable. Even if you have no feelings for someone who has a lot of money, you'd marry them? Yes. Should I say it? Yeah, okay, all right then. Look, he needs enough money, and then he's okay. When they look for a protector, the Shenzhen concubines like Yini frequent the bars and karaokes. But not the same ones as the prostitutes, with whom they clearly don't want to be associated. In China, prostitution is widespread. It takes place in hotels, massage salons and bars quite openly. In this nightclub, filmed with a hidden camera, pole dancing put the clients in the mood. Some women are here to rough it, others to sell their bodies. But more than the bars, it's the karaokes that attract prostitution. Behind the facade, this is virtually a brothel. In these rarely filmed scenes, prostitutes rest and wait for clients while watching the TV. None have names, but numbers instead. When the clients arrive, they're exhibited like cattle. Say hello. The choice is easy enough, to pick a woman for an hour or for the night. But it's not without risk. The Chinese police occasionally stages spectacular raids on places suspected of prostitution. A pimp can face the death sentence. The clients and prostitutes risk little other than public humiliation in front of the media cameras. But in a country where losing face or honor is considered unworthy, some see this as the ultimate disgrace. Keeping a secret concubine avoids these pitfalls, but can give rise to other risks. Shanghai on the banks of the Huangpu River. 19 million inhabitants and one of the richest cities in China. The divorce rate here is 38%, an exponential increase, largely the result of the relaxing of divorce procedures in 2003. Before, your employer had to authorize such separations. With so many divorces, a new profession has emerged, the private detective. Business is booming for the man in the mink coat. Zhen Xianghua left the military to become a detective. These are his offices. He's called a staff meeting. Jen has been hired by a woman to obtain proof of her wealthy husband's infidelities. The day's task is to follow the husband and catch him in flagrante delicto of adultery. The target will be in Xinjiang this afternoon. He's the vice president for China of a foreign company. He wears glasses. Jen's staff already has a dossier on the husband. It's not the first time they'll be following him. They also know of the woman whom he sees on a regular basis. He's told his wife that he's dining with clients this evening. We believe he won't be, and instead will be meeting with target number 2. We must follow him closely and photograph every intimate gesture between the man and the woman. Sui Wei and Ah Wei, you'll be the first team. Check your equipment. Use channel 1. Hello? Hello? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Okay.
Jen has organized a thorough battle plan. Extramarital affairs are his speciality and make up 30% of his business. To catch out the unfaithful partner, he has his own box of tricks, including this personalized GPS. This GPS works internationally. The battery provides plenty of power to make it last a very long time. And it's a very strong magnet too. It can attach itself to anything that has some iron in it and provides a signal. You mean like cars? Oh yes. His 7 years as a detective have taught him his clients' suspicions are often accurate. He can't be dining out with clients every night. He has to have a mistress. Women usually have a sixth sense about this sort of thing. A golden rule if you're following someone is to blend in with the crowds, or in this case, the traffic. Jen uses all the means at his disposal, 2 cars and at least 6 detectives who work in shifts, day and night. It's to stop his men from being recognized by the person they're tracking. All this, of course, comes at a cost. I'm high-end. My fees are a little under $5,000 a month. If you haven't any money, you wouldn't be able to afford a mistress, because that is expensive. Away, can you hear me? Go in front of us. They are closing in on their target. It's 3:30 p.m. and Jen knows the man is at work. The target works in this office block. He's young. Before it used to be men in their 50s and 60s who had affairs. Now they're as young as in their 30s. Jen and his team go straight into the company's parking. Previous tales means they know the man parks his car here. He's in Zone B. The car park is full of security cameras. This part is tricky. Away. Find somewhere to park, but not near us. The detective needs to plant the GPS device on the target's car without the security guards noticing. I'll do it in less than a second. Jen is confident he's done this hundreds of times in previous cases. Okay, let's go. Success. And tracking the unfaithful husband can now begin. If the suspect takes his car, Jen can follow his movements on his screen. This isn't such a serious affair yet. The man does return home to sleep every night. If he always spent the night out, that would be too much. Jen has been on the stakeout for barely half an hour when the target's car leaves the car park. Careful, that's the car. Stay behind them. The streets of Shanghai are packed, but the GPS means it's impossible to lose the man's car. We get an update by satellite every 10 seconds, so we don't need to tail him too closely and run the risk of being seen. His client, the betrayed wife, has no intention of divorcing her husband. In China, housing, raising and educating children is an expensive business. Many women won't risk material comfort by divorcing. Keep a safe distance away. The vice president's car is heading towards a residential neighborhood. 45 minutes after leaving work, he parks. He's at the Two Riverbanks Cafe. Understood. I'm heading over right now. He told his wife he was dining out with clients. This isn't the kind of place you invite clients to. So, what's the plan? Go in and order some tea. Jen suggests we wait. Then he enters the cafe. We follow a few minutes later. The detective is sitting at the back. Just one couple is inside. It's likely it's the vice president and his mistress. We record on a cell phone. Jen heads back to his car. He also used his cell phone and describes what happened. Look, see, here they're talking. That's his concubine? Yes. There are several types of concubines. You can stop out all night and sleep with your concubines, or you can split your time between your wife and your concubine. Or, like him, you use work as an alibi to go out with another woman. Look, there they are. Over there. Those two close by. Nearby there, look. He's opening the car door. Okay, let's follow. The chase resumes through the streets of Shanghai. Here, lovers tend to eat early and then go somewhere amusing, followed by a hotel room. Jem will soon know for sure. A spa. Thermal springs. That's beautiful. This is not somewhere you'd go without being intimately involved. Okay, hide. I'm getting out. A spa is a classic meeting place for extramarital affairs. This time we stay out. The couple would obviously be suspicious if they saw the same Westerners twice the same evening. 1 hour later and the detective returns, apparently pleased with himself. This begins here. They're very close to each other, you see. In the photo, they go in, side by side. That's not a simple friendship. After showering, they talked. It's obvious they're lovers, that she's his concubine. Jen managed to record the couple in dressing gowns in an intimate moment. There are rooms here. It's a complex. They have everything here. There's a restaurant, bedrooms, entertainment. He'll stay until midnight, and then he'll go home. Mission accomplished. Jen has enough evidence to show his client her husband spends all his evenings with his concubine until midnight. In China, most women who are cheated on turn a blind eye to keep their social status. But sometimes they rebel. This is Xi'an in central China. Zhang Yufen was one such woman. She marries in 1981, aged 24. A happy marriage at first with one child. But then, after 14 years, her nightmare starts when her husband takes a younger woman as mistress. That was almost 20 years ago, but she has lost none of her bitterness. What are concubines? Women who steal other people's husbands and fathers. Women who want to eat well and do nothing. Lazy women who don't work. The only thing they know how to do is to sleep with others' husbands. Look what society has become. There are concubines everywhere now. It's a way to show off one's status. If you don't have one, you're considered a nobody. In 2007, Zhang decided to divorce, 10 years after her husband left her for another woman. Yet she still keeps reminders of happier days. That's my husband. Curiously, Zhang doesn't appear to hate her ex-husband, but when she produces this woman's photo, her attitude changes. That's her. She slept with everyone and put her claws into my husband, the bitch. Go on, film her. Do you still hate her? Yeah, of course. She's garbage. The woman who stole her husband has become an obsession. I followed them everywhere for 5 years. They kept moving houses, but I followed them year after year. I surprised them once when I found them naked. They couldn't say anything. I pulled the bed covers back and there they were. She channeled her anger into helping cheated women, finding strength in giving them advice about their rights when they divorce. She does this by collecting proof of adultery. In one drawer, she keeps dozens of photographs from stakeouts as trophies. I took this photo. He's 65 years old and had just retired. He also took a concubine. I followed them. To be effective, Zhang has kitted herself out. This is my wig. We need to keep changing disguise. That way, we won't be recognized. Over 10 years, Zhang has built up a good reputation. The Chinese media have called her the concubine killer. Straying husbands fear her, and cheated-on women call her from all over the country. Today, she's talking to a woman who's disgusted by her sister's husband. Your message says your sister's husband has bought a new apartment and car for his concubine, and that she lives in the same project as your sister? What a nerve! What's your sister planning to do? Can she accept living in the same residence as the mistress? Listen to me. Speak to your sister. Tell her to gather all she can in the neighborhood about her husband's concubine. That can all be used then to build up a file of proof. She can sue them for bigamy, and the two will end up in prison. She'll feel a lot better. Zhang is cross. Women who do nothing about being cheated really upset her. What an idiot. Just accepting the situation like that, it makes no sense. She's done nothing wrong. When she sees them, she swears at them, but that won't do any good. She needs proof to sue them for bigamy, and she should do it soon. If it doesn't work the first time, keep trying. Zhang is expecting a visitor. She's become the spearhead of the revolt of the cheated wives. I'm coming, coming. Oh, you bought watermelon. Yen, ex-army, is one of the cheated. She married a judge who had a concubine. She's recently divorced, and Zhang supported her during the entire process. I read an article about Big Sister Zhang at a time I was really desperate. And I got in touch. She advised me and helped me find the answers. My husband was a judge. He used his power and knowledge of the law against me. Here we go. The two divorcees are excited, as today there'll be a special program on satellite TV about women's rights militants. Zhang is a guest on the program. Is it true that when you women speak among yourselves, you hate men even more? Or do you see this rather as a personal failure? It depends on the person. We remain hopeful in front of the facts, though. Women, even the weaker ones, must learn to become independent, to stop things that are illegal, and to protect themselves and rally round Big Sister Zhang. It's good to be on TV. It's to warn the men who take concubines they're breaking the law. They'll understand that it's not because the state doesn't do anything or because the Women's Federation does nothing that we women won't act. There, that should be clear enough. What makes Zhang Yufen's methods controversial are their sometimes strong-arm tactics. One of her tricks is to arrange punitive expeditions, which she films and puts onto the internet. Here, Zhang helped physically force her husband into his car to separate him from his concubine. The objective is to create a scandal, a public humiliation, making both the husband and his concubine lose face, something the Chinese hold dear. Zhang has her emulators, cuckolded women who don't hesitate to retaliate in some form. Chinese websites are full of violent amateur videos. Most of the time it's the concubine who's physically abused. She rarely fights back and seems to accept the disgrace. Passers-by don't get involved and often film the moment themselves, even adding a running commentary like this man. It's my lucky day today. I happen to have had my camera with me. Some even show the actual moment of adultery. In this video, the man and his mistress are surprised in a hotel bedroom. As the naked husband scrambles out of the bed to the right, his wife attacks and beats his lover. The husband makes no effort to intervene. Zhang Yufen dedicates most of her time to the cause. In Beijing, she set up a shelter for abandoned wives. It's a discreet place located in a distant suburb of the capital. She meets up with one of her protégés. The two women have a mission they've set up themselves, to surprise Mrs. Liu's husband with his concubine. He moved her into the conjugal home several weeks ago. Mrs. Liu can no longer go home. We'll go there together. You sit behind me in the car, well hidden. If they see you, there'll be trouble. Wear sunglasses, they mustn't recognize you. As soon as you see them, let me know. Tell me which one's your husband and which one's a concubine, and I'll take their photograph. Okay? Okay, let's go. Mrs. Liu has no choice for now but to accept a divorce. I need proof for a divorce. I have to prove he's at fault for the judges to rule in my favor and get my share of our assets. It's there. Stop here. We can see them from here. Confrontation doesn't worry Zhang Yufen. She'll head up to the apartment on her own as Mrs. Liu is too scared to go with her. She goes up with a camera and a hidden video recorder to catch the wrongdoers out. After waiting a short while, Zhang needs to gather the evidence. But there's nobody home and today's mission has failed, but the ladies will definitely be back. I even contemplated suicide. I even wrote my will and bought the poison. It's such a blow. I did such a good job taking care of the house. Everyone said that. Whether it was summer or winter, everything was always neat and clean. I was a great housewife. And I knew how to satisfy a man. And I was dumped. I just can't understand it. The two women promise to meet up again, but Mrs. Liu has trouble keeping her emotions in check. I wish you wouldn't have to come back. Go on, you know I have to. Okay, goodbye. I'll see you soon. In 2011, the laws governing marriage were modified, sparking a huge outcry amongst Chinese women. The new law states that any possessions owned before marriage will remain the exclusive property of that partner in the event of a divorce. So a man who traditionally provides the apartment is no longer bound to share it with an ex-wife. It's a sentence to remain married, even if the husbands are unfaithful or face life out on the street. Zheng Sui and Yu Xiang, the future married couple, have overcome that hurdle by agreeing to buy their apartment in both their names. It's D-Day, and the wedding will be celebrated in Qingdao, the village where the husband was born. The couple have decided to stick with tradition. Yu Xiang is tested by his in-laws. He needs to symbolically renege on his promises to his future parents-in-laws. I'll go knocking on doors and they'll pretend not to want to open up. In order to get in, he'll need to show he has a sense of humor, especially when dealing with the maids of honor. When you first met, what was the first thing you said to each other? You're so beautiful. Oh, that's too funny. What was the price of the wedding gown? 998. No, not expensive enough. We can't let you in. Okay, I'm adding 2 zeros. Yu Xiang slides some red envelopes before the door as a means of getting them to open up. Inside, there's money. It's a ritual used on big occasions. Okay, come in then. Oh, you're too much. Once inside, Yu Xiang is still not finished with his ordeal. You haven't even begun to suffer yet. Where did you put the shoe? I won't tell you. Under the bed? I won't tell you. He needs to find the second shoe belonging to his betrothed. It's somewhere hidden in the room. The shoe is red, the color of happiness. His in-laws have hidden it, and it's a way of testing the man who will take their daughter. He needs to prove he's worthy of her. He's not there, though. Look properly, you're not concentrating. To everyone's amusement, he eventually finds what he's looking for, taped to the mattress. Whose idea was to put it there? It's 11 a.m. and the ceremony begins in the hotel restaurant. Zheng Sui arrives on the arm of her father, like in church. A master of ceremonies compares the service. The little girl that will forever have a place in her mother and father's hearts is today a beautiful princess. Yu Xiang, are you ready to ask for the hand of the beautiful princess? First bow before her father to thank him for his confidence in you. Under the gaze of the guests seated at lunch, Yu Xiang declares his love for his woman. It's an emotional moment for bride and groom. I really want to thank my wife. I'm not very romantic, but today, I just want to say I love you. In a China where such public sentiment is unusual, his statement makes all the greater impact.